Today's video is the third and final part of a three-part series where we create a complete photography portfolio website design in Figma. We'll animate the hero section of the website we designed in the first two parts in this video. Links for those videos will be in the description below. So to begin our animation, I just created a new page and just named it hero section animation, and I just copied only the home page because we'll probably have to restart the prototype multiple times. So I just wanted to have it in a different page. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to go to rectangle and I'm just going to draw a rectangle anywhere on this frame, and I'm going to just bring this here. This entire section, I'll just cover it like this. I'm going to create a copy of this. I'm going to create a copy of this rectangle and try not to put it into the frame. I want it outside, and I'm going to move it. Let me use my arrow key. I don't want to put it into this frame. Let me get closer. Okay, till we have this. Now what I'm going to do is select this frame and these two rectangles and just group it, and I'm going to bring a copy outside of our frame. Next, I'm just going to insert a desktop frame so we can animate this inside it. So I'm going to take this entire group and put it into this frame. Let me make sure it's aligned to the top. Okay, and I'll just resize this desktop so it would be the same height of our group, like that. Now we can rename this hero section 1, and let's change the fill of this to that dark color. We'll notice, but just to keep everything neat. So before we begin, we are not going to change the color of this rectangle. We're going to leave it as it is, but we'll ungroup this. We don't need it in group. I just need it to be in a way I can handle everything together all at once. I'm going to select this rectangle, move it up just about here, and same with this one. Let's see, around here. I'm not going to change the color of the rectangle. Like I said, for now, we're going to do that later. Next, what we're going to do is ungroup this entire thing. So just ungroup this. I'm going to ungroup. I'm using Control and backspace so that we'll have with the exception of these buttons, everything should be what they are. Image will just be an image, the text will just be text. I'm going to use Control and backspace to ungroup this also. Let me change this to auto width. The text box will just be the same width with our actual text. Okay, this one I'm going to also ungroup it so we just have these two frames. Let me bring this rectangle down a bit. Okay, so what we're going to do, start with this text, right click, frame selection, turn on clip content, and double click, select the text and move this text out of that frame. I'm going to use my arrow key to completely move it out like this. Let's go to this one, same thing, right click, frame selection, clip content, select text and move it out of the frame. I'm going to use my right arrow key to remove it completely. Next, select this text, right click, make it a frame selection and then clip content I'm going to double click the frame, select only the text and move it out of the frame, and I'm just going to use my arrow key to finish that. Select these two, let's just group them, and I'm going to right click, frame selection, turn on clip content. We can select the group and then we can move this out of the frame. Okay, next let's zoom out, select this image. I'm going to double click so I can bring up the resize dialog, and I'm just going to increase the height of this image like this. Okay, now select the entire hero section and make this an auto layout. So no, sorry, a component. I use Ctrl Alt K to make it a component. You know what, let's I'm going to double click this image. Let's make it so that it's just touching those rectangles to just keep things neat. All right, so we have this. For now, we'll move the image, select this, and then create a variant. For this variant, you can now select this rectangle and bring it back into the frame like this. I'm just going to move this. Okay, so we have this rectangle covering the top of that image, and we have this rectangle here. Let's go back to this rectangle. I just noticed something. Let me close all these frames. So what we want is this image should be below everything, and then these two rectangles should be above the image like this. So you have the image at the bottom of the frame, and then you have these two rectangles after it. Every other thing should be above them. We're going to do the same for this one, where we'll have the image below our entire selection, and these two rectangles will be above the image, just like the way we have the other one. I'm going to select this, create another variant, and for this one, let's open it. So start with any of the frames, open the frame. In this case, I'm going to select the group, and I'm going to bring this back in till it's completely back into the frame. I'm going to close this one, open this one, select the text, bring this text back into our frame. I'm just going to move this. Okay, so we have the entire thing back. Same with this one. I'm going to open it, select the text, bring the text back into frame like this, and finally this one. We're going to bring this one back into the frame. Okay, now what we're going to do is go back to this first one. I'm going to double click the image, and I'm going to zoom in. So I'm using Alt and Shift, or just Shift, anyone. I'll just really zoom into this image. Oops. Hold Shift while I do that. Let's say we have this thereabouts, and I'm just going to close that dialog. Then this one that is here, just let me see, let's just leave it as it is. And what's going to happen is this will zoom back into its position, then this text will come back into our frame. Now that we've finished working on what we're going to need for our animation, we can now change the color of these rectangles. So I'm going to change the fill to dark color. Same with this one, dark color that's almost black. Same with this one. And then finally this one. Oops, no. Then this one. Okay, so all right, select this, let's go to prototype, and we're going to connect this one to this. Trigger is going to be after delay is going to be 1 millisecond. Animation is going to be smart animate. Curve is going to be ease in and out, and duration is going to be 2000. Same with this one. Let's change this to after delay is 1 millisecond, and okay, all other settings remain the same. All right, that's it. So let's now, I'm just going to select this and just create a copy, cut, Control Shift R to replace, and I'm going to use my left square bracket to send it to the back, so we can have header in over this entire thing. So I'm just going to run this prototype so we can see the animation in action. And let me let me restart this, and we'll have, so we can't see these ones at the bottom, but if you just animated only the hero section, you'll be able to see it. Let me just do that once more, and this is what we have. I just have this. I didn't want to add more elements. If not, you could add it where to kind of zoom in and then come back into focus. Maybe we could even do that. So let's say this final image, what we can do is I'm going to use Alt and Shift and just zoom it just a little bit, zoom in, and I'm going to kind of move this back in. Okay, so now let's restart, and to come in, and then it will zoom in a little as the text comes in. So if you wanted to zoom in more, or let's see what it looks like if we were to do that. So you could choose the amount of zoom you want your image to look, although it will look, what tends to happen, this is why I tend to keep copies, is that it won't look exactly the same. The final, when it finishes this process, this animation process it's going through, it won't look exactly like the original version. So I'm just going to do that, and then when the text comes in, the image is going to zoom in a bit. Okay, we're done with this first one. I said before I said we're going to do 3, I just decided let's just do 2. This entire project is already a very long one, so we're just going to do 2. All right, we're done with this. Let's do the second effect. For this next animation, let's select this and let's just bring a copy of that. Right click, detach instance. So we're going to use 6 images in this one, so this 5 and then including this one. So I'm going to just select this image and I'm going to reduce it to right around here. I want it to be 625. Let me add 5 more from the top, so it's going to be 625. I'm going to hold shift and just zoom this image back in, maybe something close to what we originally had. Let's say like this. Okay, next what we're going to do is, let me crop all these images so they are all their widths will be 1440 and their height will be 625. So let me just select all of them, change their width to 1440, and let me just move them out of the way of each other. So we can start with this image. I'm going to double click this, and the focus is going to be, let's say, around here till we have 625, like this. And I'm just going to move the focus a little bit like this. Let me reduce this because I took this from my actual project instead of bringing it again, so it has been cropped before. I'm just going to move this up like this. Next is this image. I'm just going to crop it to 625. And let's just try to center it a bit like this. This one I'm going to crop from the top and bottom till we have 625. And I'll just kind of center it here. This image, crop from the top and bottom till we have 625. I'm just going to bring as much as the image back into frame as possible, like this. Yeah. And finally we have this image. Once again, crop so you have 625. Okay. Select this hero section to Control Alt K to make it a component, and I'm going to add a variant. For this variant, I'm going to double click this image till we have this dialog. Now I'm going to zoom in again and just let me zoom in a bit more till we have this. Let me bring this down like this so that the eyes stay in focus as much as possible, like that. Close this, select this entire thing, and then create another variant. I'm going to cut this image, Control Shift R, and I guess I'll have to maybe crop this image again. Let me see, something like this. I'm going to close that, select this, create another variant, double click this image and increase the size. Hold shift down, increase it, and move this to, let's see here, let me increase it a bit more. This is going to take a lot of we'll expand, maybe reduce a bit, and let me just reduce it from this side a bit. Alright, I'm going to close that. So now for each image we'll have this, and then we'll zoom in till it's like this. Next image will be this, zoom in till it's like, select this variant 4, I believe. Next, we're going to create another variant. Select this image, cut, and Control Shift R to paste and then replace. This one, we're just going to select this and just double click the image. I'm going to use, let me see, Alt and Shift, so that we can just zoom into the image. We're not going to move to any particular direction. We're just going to just zoom in a bit into the image like this. Let me just reduce it. Okay, so now create another variant. Next image is this landscape, cut, and then Control Shift R to paste and then replace. Select this variant, create another variant, and double click on this image. I'm going to zoom into this image and then we're going to make it kind of go to the right like this. Let's see this. Close that. Another variant. Let's grab the next image. I'm going to select this one, cut, Control Shift and R to paste and then replace. This image, let me just move this up a bit. Let's select this. Okay, now we can do the next one. Create a variant, double click till you get to the image and hold Shift and then zoom into the image and then move it to the left like this. Let's maybe zoom in a bit more and then I'll just move it a little bit like this. I'm going to close that. Finally, create another variant. Let's grab the final image. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to replace and select this, create another variant, and I'm going to double click this image twice. Let me increase this image like this. Let's see, maybe even a bit more. And I'm just going to move this up a little bit. Okay, so just in case I move too fast, I'm going to go back to the top so you see each image and how I zoomed it in. So we have this first, every image has two versions. So we'll have this and then we'll zoom to this lady's face is kind of on the right. We have this one and then his face is going to the left. This image, then it's just going to zoom in straight without changing direction. This is going, we have this image like this. This one is going to zoom and go towards the left. We have this one and then this one kind of goes to the right, if it makes sense. We're going to zoom in and then it kind of goes, I don't know if it makes sense, where it kind of goes to the right. We have this one and then you just zoom in again towards the right. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just zoom your image so it kind of looks like this. It definitely won't be perfect, but you know, close enough. Next step, go to prototype and select this, connect these two like this. So this time it's going to be after delay is going to be 1 millisecond. Animation is going to be smart animate, curve is going to be linear, and duration is going to be 8000 millisecond. I'm going to close this Now when we're going between from one image to the next image, we're going to do 1000 milliseconds. So settings will be the same. So trigger will be after the delay will be 1 millisecond, curve is linear, duration this time will be 1000. So when we're going from one phase of the same image, say from this one to this one, it will be 8000, but from this one to a different one to be 1000. So I'm just going to come here, connect these two. This is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond. All settings remain the same. This time duration is 8000 millisecond. Let's come to the next one. Trigger is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond, and this time duration is 1000. Let me zoom out and go to the next one. Select this image and connect it to this one. What are we? Okay, same image. Okay, it's going to be after delay, duration is 1 millisecond. I'm going to make the duration 8000. I'm going to move on to the next one. Since these are different images, this will be 1000 milliseconds for the duration. So trigger is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond, duration is going to be 1000. I'm going to select this, change this to after delay is 1 millisecond and duration is 8000. I'm going to zoom out. Let me select this. Trigger is after delay is 1 millisecond. Okay, these are two different images, so 1000 for the duration. I'm going to connect these two. Trigger is after delay, duration is 1 millisecond and duration is 8000. Let me zoom out and then go to the next one. Let me come here, connect these two. This is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond, duration is going to be 1000 millisecond. I'm going to close this. I'm going to connect this to trigger is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond and duration is going to be 8000. I'm going to zoom out. Now that we're on the final image, I'm just the final desktop. I'm going to select this one and I'm going to connect it back to the first one, and this is going to be after delay is 1 millisecond and duration is 1000. So let me just run through the settings again. So the settings here, let me just show you. These are the settings and you can just change it to match this. The only difference between, say, when you're going between two versions of the same image, the duration is going to be 8000 milliseconds, but for different images it's going to be 1000 milliseconds. That's the only difference. So let's see. Okay, we haven't brought in our design yet. I'm just going to zoom out and I'm going to select a copy of this, cut it, and we're going to replace this here, and we can see what it looks like in our prototype. So let's go over here. I'm going to restart and we have this sort of slideshow. I don't know if it's coming through in the video. Sometimes OBS Studio, which is what I'm using to record my screen, tends to get a bit choppy. So if the video seems like it's skipping, where you can see like the image skipping, right now I'm looking at it and it looks smooth, like a typical slideshow. But if it's doing that skipping effect, it's just OBS Studio that I'm having issues with. I have tried my best to rectify it. It's still skipping. But we're supposed to have this sort of slideshow effect. It's not if you have a video and you want to use it, you can use a video, but in the absence of a video, I just decided to kind of have a slideshow of some of our images. As I always encourage you in all my videos, change things around. If you don't like something, change it. If it's too slow, change it. If it's too fast, change it. If you don't like the duration between the two images, change it. Always treat these projects like blank slates and play around with it. But yeah, with that said, we have come to the end of this video and part 3 of our entire project. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.